I've been really pleased with Jimmy. I don't want to say that I'm surprised, but it is a big factor for us to be able to feel like we can be as patient as we need to be for what's smart for Matthew. And then, oh, by the way, it's not affecting the team at this time right now because of what Jimmy's able to do. But we'll be excited about getting Matthew back here. But having Jimmy is a big edge for us. Okay?
So Sean McVay has had a number of press conferences like that where he's really aggressively talking up Jimmy Garoppolo, and he's starting to kind of hedge the Matthew Stafford situation. They keep on saying we expect him to be back for week 1, but they also come out every week saying, okay, he's not going to practice this week because we're still working on his back. And when you're talking like that, you're essentially acknowledging that the backup quarterback option is a distinct possibility. You may still be shrouded in the fog of war because you don't know how the back is going to respond over the course of the next few weeks for Matthew Stafford. But being shrouded in the fog of war means that both outcomes are very possible, that Stafford is back or Matthew Stafford is not back for the start of the season, and they do have to go with Garoppolo. Then when the season starts, even if Stafford were perfectly healthy right now, the Rams would always be one snap away from Garoppolo. That's just how the NFL works. Any quarterback is always at the risk of being hurt. So we are tantalizingly close at this point to seeing this former 49ers quarterback chaos across the entire NFC West. And I can put that schedule back up the screen. I can't wait to track that over the course of this season. 49ers play the Rams in week 5. That's a Thursday night game, October 2nd. So that's still a little while away. I think it would have to be truly bad for Matthew Stafford's back to not be back by then. And then November 9th, week 10, 49ers will host the Rams. That is at Levi's Stadium. Kyler Murray versus Brock Purdy. That's scheduled for September 21st. And then Kyler Murray against Brock Purdy, the rematch is on November 16th. That is week 11. As you can see, the 49ers bye does not come in until December, week 14, the latest bye the 49ers have ever had. And then there's the season finale. They play the Seahawks to bookend the season. So we could see Purdy, Darnold week 1 and week 18. So buckle up. This could be nuts. I'm going to take some questions here in a little bit. 49ers depth chart, the unofficial one from the communication staff, came out yesterday. 49ers have Mykel Williams listed as a first stringer. They gave the rookie some real respect. That's because Robert Saleh has already given the rookie some respect. Essentially, he and Kyle Shanahan have both essentially acknowledged that Mykel Williams is going to be starting for the 49ers. Normally, the depth chart that the 49ers come out with from the communication staff at this time of the year knocks the rookies down a peg or two. They did that with C.J. West and with Alfred Collins and with Upton Stout. They're not officially listed as starters, even though I think that at least one of those guys, Upton Stout's on the very inside track, is going to be a starter. But normally, they humble the rookies a little bit with this first depth chart. They didn't bother with Mykel Williams because it's very, very obvious that he's going to be the base down bookend for Nick Bosa. Today, the 49ers have a walkthrough. Speaking of former 49ers, we could talk about all these QBs potentially matching up in the NFC West this year. A lot of former 49ers, 5 of them to be exact, are going to be heading into the facility tomorrow when the Denver Broncos visit for a joint practice. So 3 defenders for the Broncos, Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga, and DJ Jones, and 2 offensive players, Mike McGlinchey and Trent Sherfield, both have 49ers ties. And so it should make for a spirited practice. Kyle Shanahan this week said that he doesn't like practicing against guys that he loves or playing against guys that he loves. And obviously somebody like Dre Greenlaw, somebody like Talanoa Hufanga falls into that category. But I think that the fans are going to enjoy seeing these players. Talanoa, by the way, I saw a picture. I guess he's moved to a single digit with the Broncos. I think he's wearing the number 9. So that's going to look funny. It's going to look weird seeing those guys in a different uniform. We can all knock on wood. Hopefully everybody gets through on both sides through this practice healthy. And hopefully the 49ers and the Broncos can get some good work in. I think that, the Broncos were the number one defense in the entire NFL last season. So it could be excellent work for the 49ers offense, which that's been my biggest takeaway of 49ers training camp so far. We know that the young defense is working, and they're putting in the reps, and certain guys are emerging, and other guys, may take a little bit longer to develop, and we're starting to get some of the tea leaves on that front. The big picture of the defense, though, is that it's going to be a work in progress over the course of this 2025 season. I think that's obvious. Anybody with a brain should be able to put 2 and 2 together. And we won't know exactly what this unit is like. Maybe not even week one. It might even take a little bit longer than that. But I tweeted last night that my biggest takeaway of 49ers training camp so far is that even with the questions at receiver, the 49ers have the arsenal to be a powerful offense. There's explosive veteran talent around a very good quarterback. San Francisco went into this offseason retool knowing that offense would have to lead into 2025 as the team nucleus, and Purdy and company haven't disappointed. They're on track to be that. To me, this is like the most important foundational pillar of the 49ers 2025 hopes. This is going to have to be an offense-driven team. And the reason that I bring this up now is because that's what the Rams did over the course of the past couple seasons. The Rams didn't have quite enough offense to really drive them into true Super Bowl contention. They put on, Matthew Stafford did resurrect in the postseason relative to his regular season performance last year, and I thought that he did some nice stuff against the Vikings and then against the Eagles last year in the postseason. But if the Rams were going to win the Super Bowl in 2024, they were going to have to just play the hypercharged offense that they were in 2021 because the defense was so young. They retooled the defense just like the 49ers did, and they counted on the offense to be the locomotive that pulled the train, just like the 49ers will here in 2025. And the Rams didn't quite get that. Ironically, by the end of the season, like by the postseason last year, the Rams defense was playing at a very, very high level. They were the number 29 defense over the first 3 months of the season. From December onward into January, into the playoffs, the Rams were the number 5 defense in the league. So all those rookies, which is very resemblant of the formula that the 49ers have used to renovate their defense this year. They've gotten way younger. There are going to be a lot of rookies. Robert Saleh yesterday said there may be up to 8 new starters for the 49ers on the defensive side of the ball in 2025. All those guys for the Rams, their version of it, and they had only 3 new starters, by the way. 49ers are going to have more new starters. They had three rookie starters, I guess I should say. 49ers may have up to 5 rookie starters at some point this season. But the Rams had 3 rookie starters. They went number 29 over the first 3 months. Then they figured it out, went after going through those growing pains, and they were number 5 defensively over the course of the last 2 months of the season, including the playoffs. The 49ers will hope to follow a positive trajectory that, maybe doesn't exactly emulate what the Rams did. I don't think the 49ers want to start number 29 defensively over the course of the first 3 months. Maybe they could keep it at like number 16 to number 20 over the first 3 months, and then maybe they kick it into gear into the top 10 later on. I don't know exactly where that's going to be. That's all, very, very fungible, right? But what the 49ers need to have as their bedrock is I want to say top 7 offense. They need to have a top 7 offense from the very get-go in 2025. What has training camp taught me so far? I think that despite the upheaval at receiver, the 49ers can reasonably expect Brock Purdy to helm a top 7, top 8 offense from the very get-go because of how good he is, how good Shanahan can be when he's at his best. And Shanahan needs to have a bounce-back season this year. And the weapons the 49ers do have available right now around Brock Purdy. That includes Christian McCaffrey, who looks to be in some of the best shape that I've ever seen him. And I've covered McCaffrey since he was at Stanford. That includes George Kittle, who I think the way he looks right now, he can have a career year for the 49ers. They do have real talent in the receiver room, even with a lot of the issues that they're going through, injury issues, maybe a contract situation with Juwan Jennings, but they've got Ricky Pearsall looking really, really good. That's a first-round pick. Speaking of the Rams, they've got Demarcus Robinson. Bottom line is that I don't know if the 49ers can be a top 5, top 3 offense without a Brandon Ayuk, without a Juwan Jennings out on the field. I think they're going to need the entire arsenal out there to be at the very, very top of the NFL. But if the baseline here for the offense that's needed is for them to be a top 7 or top 8 offense, I think they have the goods to make that happen right now. Most of that is thanks to Mr. Purdy himself under center for this football team. Then they also have the schedule in their favor, right? The NFC West's last place team from 2024 gets to play the last place schedule. Then you also have to play your division, and that might include Garoppolo and Sam Darnold and Kyler Murray. It might be a whole lot of fun here in 2025. What questions do you guys have? Let's look through some of these. Oh, we got new members. That's awesome. Nathan, welcome. New member. We've got somebody who loves Mike. And somebody who didn't like the mic at the start. It was because I was accidentally playing a video on silent in the background. I hope it's better now. I'm sorry. That was my fault when I started this video. Looks like the crowd has gotten bigger over time. It's too bad that the start of the video was polluted by relatively poor sound. But this sounds good now, right? Good. All right. Scotty asks, what is the most important thing in the joint practice tomorrow ahead of the game on Saturday night? Well, the most important thing in any practice is to stay healthy because it's just practice. The second most important thing is to get different looks from the Broncos. That's a three down lineman front. You know, they run a 3-4. The 49ers defense has been challenging the offense with a 4-3. So you're going to get a different look and at the front, but you're going to get several different looks from what was the NFL's #1 defense last year. So I think that the biggest thing, aside from staying healthy, is looking at whatever the Broncos throw at you and adapting to it accordingly. Maybe not tomorrow per se, but being ready to face similar looks in the season because you had a chance to practice against them on both sides of the football. I guarantee you that Sean Payton will throw plenty of creative stuff at the 49ers' young defense, and Kyle Shanahan will be able to test his arsenal against the Broncos' vaunted defense. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the new memberships. You can always sign up for one of those. That's one of the best ways to support this channel. Now, let me sit here and let me answer some other good questions. Welcome back to Kenny Hamilton. It's been a while since he's been on the stream. What I've noticed is that people are starting to filter back in. The crowds are getting bigger. I mean, we had some of the live audience stick with us throughout the entire offseason, but I think a lot of people don't watch lives in the offseason and they watch more uploads. That's why we do more uploads than lives. Now we can start going live much more often. You know, if I could just click this on and randomly talk about a few quarterbacks and we got 618 people watching concurrently, that's a strong number. That's cool, especially for this time in the morning. I think that your bosses are going to be upset that you are not working right now, but that's okay with me. Continue not working, continue having this on in the background. Just don't get in trouble at work so you can keep on doing this over the course of the regular season. Is YouTube not showing you memberships? Maybe try YouTube desktop. Maybe Mike will have some guidance for us on how exactly you can click on that. I think you could go to David Lombardi, like my actual YouTube homepage, and I think on there you'll have a chance to sign up for the membership. There's 3 tiers. You get content early. We gave you the Upton Stout big interview early. We gave you the big one, Jim Cotta, early. It's going to be content that drops early for you. We're going to have members only meetups, all kind of good stuff. And I think we already have over 100 people that have signed up. So that is exciting. And please let me know if you have not been able to find that, and hopefully Mike can help everybody out. We're also on our way to 100,000 subscribers. We crossed 90,000 subscribers last night. That's tremendously exciting. So if you hit that sub button, you're going to help us get on up to 100,000. I think we're going to get a cool YouTube plaque when that happens, like the play button. And when I do have the play button, I'm going to show it off for the camera. It's going to be cool. We'll have a 100,000 celebration show. So help us get there a little bit quicker. Joe can't wait to see the 49ers rookies against the Denver Broncos. Me too. And they're going to be growing pains tomorrow. I'm sure the Broncos are going to make some plays. And I'm sure the 49ers will make their share of plays too. And people will probably get way too excited about the plays that the 49ers make and freak out way too much about the plays that the Broncos make. It's practice. So I think all you want is a healthy, competitive practice. Because if it's a competitive, then you would assume that the guys are going to take some of the lessons learned and apply them moving forward. Then they have another joint practice the next week against the Raiders. So it's going to be a chance to do similar stuff. Take a look at a different offensive and defensive scheme, face different guys. By the end of practice yesterday, the 49ers were very clearly sick of working against each other. That's why we saw that little scuffle, fight, whatever you want to call it. Connor Colby was one of the belligerents. I couldn't tell who else was. That's the 49ers rookie offensive lineman. But it was fun for 2 weeks, maybe for a week, to watch the 49ers practice against themselves. Now we need to see a different team, a different uniform out there at Levi's Stadium. There is only one joint practice against the Broncos. They're not doing two because Kyle Shanahan feels that it just devolves into a bunch of fighting on the second day. So they're doing one, and it's tomorrow, and it starts at the normal time. It starts at 10:25 a.m. There are no full contact practices. Full contact is not going to happen until the games. So they don't tackle live to the ground. They'll have pads on. They will hit. They'll thud each other up, but they're not going to be dragging guys to the ground. There's no live tackling really anywhere in the league anymore. Maybe a couple of years ago, teams like the Steelers were still tackling live, but I think that actually isn't the case anywhere. The Niners have never tackled live to the ground under Kyle Shanahan. So that's been several years since the 49ers as an organization have moved away from that in practice. Rick asks, do you think the Niners receiver room has enough talent to move on from Jennings? Well, that doesn't necessarily have to be a question because they have Jennings under contract this season. So they exact that amount of leverage. Now, Juwan obviously wants more money, and I think the 49ers are much better with him. His greatest value to the 49ers is right now as we speak, because this is the moment of greatest turmoil and greatest upheaval in the 49ers receiving room. And the young guys like Jordan Watkins are the least developed that they'll be at any point of their NFL careers. So at this very moment, if the 49ers had to play a game, like a regular season game, not just a preseason game, I think you'd really want to have Juwan Jennings out there. I think you could have some major issues in the wide receiver room. As the season progresses, I think the 49ers will find a rhythm with the guys that they have out there if Juwan's not back by then. And they'll morph into something that works, especially since you have supporting stars like Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle on this offense. But make no mistake that Juwan Jennings and what he brings to the table is a cohesive glue for the 49ers. You're better with Juwan Jennings than without him. Now, paying him beyond the 2025 season after his contract ends might be a little too pricey for what the 49ers can afford. And that's an entirely separate discussion. But for 2025, he's under contract. He wants more money. 49ers and Jennings are trying to thread that needle, and we'll see how they thread it. But we do know that the 49ers are better off with Jennings than without him. He just brings such a unique skill set to the field. And I'm not just talking about running routes and catching passes. Juwan Jennings is somebody who he's just so tough and so physical. And for an offense that tries to imprint itself in that way, you like to have him out there on the perimeter pissing defenders off. Mike, you had a super chat that didn't make it on. Sorry. Maybe I didn't see it at the very start. I could take care of Mike here. Had a super chat that didn't make it on. Oh, I ended yesterday when it went through. What undrafted free agent do I see making the 53-man roster? Ooh, it's a tough question. Let's look at the roster itself. Let's look at the depth chart itself. There's Corey Kiner, the running back. He's got a shot. He's been running well. A lot of that might depend on Isaac Guerendo's health at the start of the season. Drew Moss, the preseason game is going to be really big for him. Sebastian Valdez, they're calling him the Hulk. I think Sebastian Valdez is the best shot. Why? Because, A, they're calling him the Hulk. That's nice. But the defensive tackle position, there's a lot of question there. Like a lot. And now Kevin Givens has the pectoral injury. So that opens up something for the 49ers at defensive tackle. Stone Blanton, that's going to be tough. I mean, he's behind quite a few guys, I think, right now at that linebacker position. Now, Jacob Robinson at corner has been making a lot of plays. They actually have a handful of undrafted free agents that have a shot. Robinson has been making pass breakup after pass breakup. Unfortunately for him, the PBU yesterday was the PBU that wasn't. He knocked the ball away, but it popped up in the air, and Demarcus Robinson caught it and ran in for a touchdown. Wildest play of camp, hands down, for Jacob Robinson. As Kenny Hamilton says, never doubt an undrafted running back under Kyle Shanahan. Yes, never do. There's something about those undrafted guys. They run with such a chip on their shoulders. And I think that helps. Plant your foot, cut up in the outside zone. I think that there's a certain bravado, there's a certain reckless abandon that some of these undrafted free agents bring to the table running. Seems to really work in the Shanahan scheme. Could Valdez play on the NASCAR package because he's so strong? Well, the NASCAR package is more about speed and athleticism. The NASCAR package, that's about 4 defensive ends lined up as your pass rushers. So no defensive tackles, and Valdez is a defensive tackle in passing situations. So probably not. Like, Valdez is a DT for sure. He's the Hulk. He's not the Ferrari. And I think you're going to go with 4 Ferraris in a NASCAR package situation. Do I anticipate a slow start for Jawan Jennings having missed training camp? Well, he hadn't missed all of training camp. He's already out there for about a week, a few practices before they put on pads. And it's still August 6th. For all we know, this could get resolved tomorrow, and Jawan Jennings might be out there. For all we know, it's still the calf. Well, we're not 100% sure, actually, about calf versus contract in this situation. We've had a cryptic answer from Kyle Shanahan. We've had speculation from Richard Sherman. We've made a show about it. I get it. And I just, right now, they're keeping everything in-house, which is good. It hasn't turned into the circus distraction that the Brandon Ayuk situation was last year. And there still is a month before the 49ers start the regular season against Seattle. So it's way too soon to say that somebody's been missing too much of training camp. I've always wondered if D. Flem was Dave Fleming. That'd be cool. Giants broadcaster. Probably not, but he said that Jordan James is going to be good for the 49ers. Jordan James out of Oregon. James and Kiner are both built like Devontae Freeman. And I think that they're both good out of the backfield catching the ball. The reason that the preseason games are so good for evaluating running backs, minus the fact, obviously, that they can actually break tackles in the games, but pass protection. We're going to get to see that really important part of a running back skill set on Saturday against the Broncos. And it's going to be out there. It's going to be, even in practices, it's a little tougher to evaluate the pass pro. You can evaluate it, but in games, when stuff is being schemed up, when running backs have to have their head on a swivel, when they have to be ready for whatever the defense might be throwing at them cerebrally to pick up the pass rush, that's when guys who can't do it are exposed. And that's when guys who can do it shine. So I can't wait to see that. There is no practice today. 49ers practice against the Broncos tomorrow. Today's only a walkthrough. That's why I'm sitting here at 9:18 a.m. Pacific on a live. No, this would not make sense. Crazy trade. Ayuk and Jennings for Terry McLaurin. It would not make sense at all. Stuff like that's not going to happen. I know there are a lot of people that are clickbaiting you with that kind of stuff, but I don't even bother with it. That will be the extent of me talking about crazy trades that would never become reality in the real world. I think that we'll see Yetur Gross-Matos back next week. We're already seeing him work out on the side of the field, but I think we'll fully see him back next week. Hello to Japan. Konnichiwa. That's awesome. I want to go to Japan. I haven't been. Maybe in December, first time to Japan. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Bye week. Go out there for a few days. Do a few 49ers shows from Japan. That'd be a lot of fun. All right, everybody, thank you for watching. Yes, we may be entering a world where Brock Purdy, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Sam Darnold are all starting quarterbacks in the NFC West. 49ers are favorites to win the NFC West. Slight favorites right now over the Rams. Even if Matthew Stafford is ready to go, Purdy's been better than Matthew Stafford ever since Purdy entered the league. And I think by a significant margin. Like Brock Purdy he's been at the top of the league in all those efficiency metrics. Stafford last year down to number 18. So he's 37. He's needing an epidural for his back to feel better. Not a great situation for the Rams. I should have a Lombardi award for the most inspiring player of the week. All right. First Lombardi award goes to Upton Stout. We've inaugurated the Lombardi award right now. It goes to Mr. Upton Stout himself, the rookie 5'8" DB out of Western Kentucky. Great idea. Thank you for that. On that note, we end the show. Hit the sub button, hit the like button, do what you need because we're on our way to 100,000.